Hey everybody, this is Diane. Welcome to Biters. This is part of the Season 1 retrospective with Marnell and Thomas O'Mara. How you guys doing?
Doing all right.
I'm doing good.
So, I have to tell you, I am your 40-something who would rather be one of the Walking Dead than passing a kidney stone.
Oh. Still hasn't passed?
I think it has, but I've got two more hanging out that aren't moving right now, so it could be an interesting who knows when. The stone could drop at any point.
The real question is can you run from walkers while suffering kidney stones?
Hell no.
So Marnell, you're safe.
Yeah, exactly. You're my Otis.
Or run from bears.
Yeah, right.
We don't run from bears here. They run after you.
Yeah, we don't have any in... Well, we do have them in New York, actually, but more upper
I was going to say, they must be way upstate.
No, they're about a half hour north they've been seen.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know how to tell...
Is there brown bear, or...
Do you know how to tell a difference?
I have no idea. I actually saw one once. We were driving, leaving my cousin's house, and it hopped over the railing, stopped in the middle of the street, looked at us, and then hopped back over the railing and ran away.
Did it look like a giant dog, or did it look like a monster?
You're talking to the wrong person. I was probably wetting my pants.
So if you climb a tree, a black bear will come after you. A brown bear will knock the tree over.
Yeah, I was in a car and I wasn't getting out of it.
We tell the hikers around here to carry bear bells, and it's just a little bell that you keep on the backpack or your dog, and it makes noise so that you don't sneak up on a bear. And so the way to tell black bear poop from brown bear poop is brown bear poop has little bells in it.
Nice. Yeah. That's like the meme that's going around now that says, if you see a bear, play dead, because it's good practice, because in 5 minutes you won't have to play dead.
Okay, this is totally not related to The Walking Dead, but I worked with a surgeon probably 20 years ago who came in a Monday morning and handed out this letter to all of his patients who were sitting in pre-op waiting to go into surgery, and it said, I just want you all to know that I was mauled by a bear over the weekend, and it bit me through my arm. I think I'm perfectly capable of doing surgery, but if you'd like to reschedule, this is the situation.
Wow.
I thought, only in Alaska.
Yeah, and I would have rescheduled in a heartbeat.
I don't think anyone did. Which is the funny thing.
Only in Alaska.
Right.
Well, and my first question would it be your dominant hand or not?
I honestly do not remember.
Okay.
He was bird hunting, and he had a grouse, or not a grouse, obviously not a grouse, a bear. He had a bear charge him, and it bit his arm when he was protecting his head with his arms.
So it's probably his dominant, because you'd always protect.
Yeah.
First with your dominant, I think.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about that, I think about my right arm getting bitten. So
I think if I just had the first appointment for the day, I would switch it with the person who had the second appointment. See how that goes.
See if the first person survives.
Exactly.
It was orthopedic surgery, and I think everybody did just fine.
Well, they were duly warned if they didn't.
Which was exactly his point.
Oh, that's so funny.
And Dr. Lawrence Gilliard performed the
anesthesia.
Yeah.
I cannot believe you remember that name.
Well, I can believe you remember the name, but I can't believe you remember there was an anesthesiologist out there named Lawrence Gilliard.
Oh, I'll never forget that now.
Awesome. Well, so we are talking about Vatos today, so we're going from bear to Vatos.
Yeah, I have no joke for the connection. Moving on.
Yeah, there's nothing. There was a great segue, though.
I tried. I really tried. Not really. So this is season 1, episode 4, and this originally aired on the 21st of November in 2010. And I'm going to take the rating first because I felt like this episode still really holds up. So I gave it 4.9 out of 5 hick names like Merle.
Wow.
Wow. I'm actually the complete opposite. I think out of the first season, I think this is my least favorite episode.
Really? Oh, it's always been one of my favorites. Season. So what'd you rate it?
I gave it 4 arrows to the ass out of 5.
And I am middle of the road at 4.2, prematurely dug graves.
Oh.
Yeah, so I really did love this episode. My biggest gripe with it is they really didn't go anywhere with it. I would have loved to have seen more of the Vatos.
That's going to be my bad. I mean, you're already stealing my bad. We're already 5 minutes in.
Well, I would have rated it higher, but I just, it didn't feel like a filler episode at the time. But looking back retrospectively, it really was like, where were they going with this? Obviously, no.
I don't think it was a filler episode. I just don't. I mean, I'm going to get into it right now. I don't think the Vatos story was needed. It didn't go anywhere. It didn't provide anything really.
Oh, you guys are killing me.
I mean, there was a deleted scene, which a lot of people have probably seen by now. It's been actually going around the internet recently, where they went back to that camp. But even with that deleted scene, it's like there was nothing. It didn't have any real point. It's not like they gained anything by going there. And I mean, I don't know. I just didn't care for that whole storyline. They didn't need it.
Wow. Yeah. This is going to be a good one because I totally don't feel that way.
Well, you're wrong.
Brian tells me that repeatedly, and here I am. I'm still hanging in.
And where is he? He's off building poker tables somewhere.
Right. He told me, and seeing Metallica. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I saw that.
He told me he's way behind. He might actually watch the Fear premiere tonight just to get caught up. I'm like, yeah, that's okay, Slacker. We'll cover for you.
Brian, if you're listening, don't watch it. It's a waste of time.
Oh, God. You're making me really hesitate watching it so Marnell and I can cover it this week.
All right, but no more Fear talk.
Okay, so back to Vatos. So it had 4.75 million viewers for the same day view for this episode, which is pretty consistent for most of season 1.
It is the second lowest because
I was going to say it went down.
Yeah, Guts had 4.71, and they were the lowest of any Walking Dead episode. So,
Tell It to the Frogs, I think it was 5.2 or something.
I'd have to go back and look.
5.07.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's because there was a bad episode.
I was not. But I don't have anything particularly cool to say about the title, which is funny because I remember having some big revelation when Brian and I talked about it, but I'll be damned if I can find those notes. They're long gone. There was some cool trivia about this episode, though. The quarry where they filmed it is actually a multi-use recreational park and a water reservoir that was acquired by the city of Atlanta. Have you seen it, Tom?
Is that, you mean where their camp was? With
yeah,
the
RV? Quarry. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I haven't. I actually haven't been to that location.
I've heard you can see it when you fly in, but I don't know. I haven't actually flown to Atlanta myself, so I can't weigh in on that or not.
Oh, I have no. I mean, I've flown to Atlanta a lot, and I would have no idea what I'm looking. You guys know my geography is horrible.
Only slightly better than ours, or slightly worse.
There would have to be a big red arrow outside pointing to it for me to see it.
This is the Bellwood Quarry.
Yeah, exactly. And I might see it then.
It was also used in Stranger Things.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've got to be honest, I haven't watched Stranger Things yet.
Oh, it's adorable. I loved it.
I know.
I think you would like it.
You're totally a child of the 80s, though.
I am.
It was good. It was good. I didn't think it was as great as everybody made it out to be, but it was good.
Couple of the pubs in the area, like, I don't know if their Pandora station is like stuck on 80s remix or like Guardians of the Galaxy awesome mix or whatever, but it's like all 80s music. And I was not that old in the 80s, but I have all older siblings, so I can sing every word of every song. So
Are they calling them pubs in Juneau now? They were bars once upon a time.
Okay, well, we have a couple that specifically have pub in their title.
Oh my God, that's
and one of the people that we regularly hang around with is British, so it wears off. Oh, and I'm watching Big Brother UK, so if I get a Cockney accent at any moment, just bear with me.
And she's going to have to go to the loo.
Right. We're going to lock her in the loo for making such a bad decision about viewing Big Brother UK. Are you serious?
Okay, I do not watch any other Big Brother but UK. I don't know what it is about and I hear the Australia one is really good, but the US one.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So, Vatos.
Yeah, so back to The Walking Dead. I'm with you, Thomas. So this is the only episode in the first season that was written by Robert Kirkman. I don't think I need to say anything about Robert Kirkman, so I didn't write anything cool down.
He's going to be on the cruise next
He's going to be on the cruise. I did think of that when I was writing his name down.
This is his second time portraying a zombie.
No, that was Greg Nicotero.
That's Nicotero.
I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. Nicotero.
He's going to be on the cruise too, I think.
Is he really? Oh, God.
Yeah, he's gone the first 2 years, and I'm sure he'll go this thing. He brings cool props with him too.
That's going to be Herschel's a great cruise.
He brings Herschel's head all the time, and it's really cool because it's remote controlled, so he can like control the eyes while you're holding it.
Maybe he'll bring like Glenn's bulging eye this time.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. I'm actually looking at a picture of you right now swinging Lucille at Glenn with his bobble-eye glasses on.
Oh, you're looking at my pants.
Yeah.
It took me 3 days in Atlanta to find those glasses. I came up with that idea.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
As our plane was landing, I came up with that idea.
That is hilarious.
It took me 3 days to find. We went from store to store and we couldn't find them. Finally, we found some little tiny shop that for some reason carried them.
Did you keep them or did you give them to Stephen Yun?
They actually, right after that photo, they broke.
Oh no! Kind of like Glenn's head.
Yeah, I mean it's all right. It got the photo, and
right.
That photo has been seen by over 2 million people.
Oh, that is hilarious.
Because someone decided to crop me out of it and they made it black and white, and it's just the bat on Glenn's head with his eye popping out, and they made a meme out of it. And I think the meme said something like, they told me to come to Walker Stalker Atlanta. They said it would be fun or something like that. And it's been shared and seen. I still get people sending it to me saying they just saw it on this site or something.
Oh my God. You're going to have to post that to Biters. That's really funny.
I'll have to find the meme somewhere.
You need to start watermarking your photos. Dang.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't think people were going to. I mean, I don't mind if people take them and share them. Or someone actually I did a photo op with Lauren Cohen, and I had my Glenn shirt on, and she's acting sad and all this. I found someone was using it as their profile picture on Instagram.
Oh my God, that is so funny.
With me in it.
Oh, that is so surreal.
So I sent the person a message. I'm like, dude, what are you doing with my photo as your profile photo? And it turned out it was a girl, and she said she just loved the picture. She didn't mean any harm, and she took it down and all that. But
oh my God,
kind of creepy.
Okay, now I feel a little bad when I type pictures, but I'm usually typing pictures like, a picture of Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I'm not like stealing people's personal pictures.
Yeah, like I said, I don't mind if people use them. It's just Keep me in them, at least. If it's going to be seen by 2 million people, keep me in it.
That's weird, though. That's just kind of weird to sign into Instagram and see yourself on somebody's account.
Yeah, as their profile picture. But it happens.
I guess it does. I'll be more careful.
I'll say something nice. When I steal your picture and use it as my profile photo, whoever is out there, like, it'll probably be your dog, actually, and I'll say something nice.
Right, exactly. Okay, back to Vatos, because we're going to keep doing this all night, which is actually kind of the fun of having you on with your stories, Thomas. I really enjoy it. No, I seriously do. It's really fun.
Yeah.
So this was directed by a guy named Johan Rank, and he is known for music videos, commercials, and he directed like 3 episodes of Breaking Bad.
Well, I can tell you a story about him when I had to drink with him at the bar. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, God.
I have no idea who that is.
Oh my God, totally hook, line, and sinker. Like if you could see me, I look like a big mouth bass being dragged off.
Yeah, no, I have no idea who that is. No stories about him.
Well, so I have a couple of stories about him, but only because of IMDb. So he was known for making music videos back in the 90s. He did some videos for like Madonna, which was one of his big clients. He's done ads for Nike, Levi's, and he had a band called, I'm gonna totally slaughter this, Stackabo, and did 3 albums with them. So apparently he was a big deal back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Well, and I
never met him.
I believe he's German, isn't he?
He's from some northern European country. I didn't write it down.
Don't ask me about geography. Isn't that where Alaska is?
We're fairly close.
Not quite.
Now I feel like I need to click on his IMDb again. He's from Stockholm, so he's from Sweden.
Okay, yeah, because
I knew that.
You knew he was from Stockholm, or you knew Stockholm was in Sweden?
No, I knew Stockholm was in Sweden.
Well, and he has a credit where it's one of those where it's like, I'd like to buy a vowel. So it's not in English, and then Stockaboy is also spelled. I don't know if it's spelled it's spelled weird. So I was like, he's foreign.
If you're listening to this, just go to his IMDb page.
Right.
You can read it all yourself.
So speaking of IMDb pages, our featured cast member is Emma Bell. So Thomas, tell us something about Emma Bell.
Oh, just like that.
Yeah, I'm going to totally put you on the spot again, man.
Well,
nice segue.
I actually there's a few things about Emma. Emma is the reason that I got into going to Walker Stalker cons.
Really?
Because I was actually a big fan of Emma before The Walking Dead. She was in one of my favorite movies, a movie called Frozen. Not the cartoon. This is it's I guess classified as horror, but I think it's more suspense thriller. A movie by Adam Green, and I was a fan of her in that. Then she was in Walking Dead, and then she was in Dallas, and I was a big fan of Dallas. And I used to tweet her all the time, and we would talk back and forth. She's really nice. And then I saw she was doing a convention in Boston, which was called like Pop Attic Convention or something. So I got a pass to it. And then about a month before the convention, or 2 months before the convention takes place, the convention page switched over, said we've been overrun by walkers. And it turned into the first Walker Stalker Boston.
No way, really?
Yeah, and it was originally called Pop Attic Con. And that's James Frazier, his old Twitter handle was Pop Attic.
Oh, that's really funny.
He's the head of Walker Stalker now.
Right.
So, yeah, so she's the reason that I actually went to my first Walker Stalker.
Oh, that is really funny.
Yeah. And she's also been, Frozen was a fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. It's about 3 I guess they're like 20-year-old maybe, that get stuck on a ski lift for like a week. And it's fantastic. It's like very suspenseful thriller. Love it.
It's kind of like in the same vein of what was the one where they were scuba diving and their boat left them or whatever.
Open water.
Yeah, one of those where you're stranded somewhere.
Yeah, it's very similar.
Huh.
But that was her first. That's, I think, her first major role, and it says like introducing Emma Bell, and then she's had like Final Destination.
She's had a really bunch of really good one-offs where she was in Arrow, which is based on the comic book Green Arrow, Dollhouse, which was a Joss Whedon show, which I absolutely love, Law and Order, Third Watch, what was the other one that I noticed? She's in Dallas, which I don't watch, but is pretty popular. Rosalie Niles. Yeah, she was in an episode of Rosalie Niles. I do remember that.
Yes, and the episode she's in takes place in Boston, because that show's set in Boston, and it's in a zombie convention.
Oh, how
in Boston.
Funny.
Yeah, she's like an attendee of a zombie convention or something.
Art imitating life.
But she also sings.
Really?
I'm friends with her brother. Her brother's named Chase Bell.
And he's a musician. I see that on the bio.
Yeah. He's a big musician, singer, all that. And she sings with him on a lot of his tracks. And I think it was last Memorial Day, Chase wanted to come to New York City to Bar 9 again.
Oh, right on.
And he said he was going to bring Emma. So, of course, I set it up. He had his set. She came, such a sweetheart. But one funny story with that. I had already had, like, when I first met her in Boston, I had a professional photo op done with her, and I'd met her, talked to her, and all that. So in the bar, after they were done singing, there's a photo booth, one of those like actual sit down, put your $5 in, get printouts. Like it takes 3 pictures.
Yeah.
Like a real photo booth. So I asked her, I'm like, will you come in the photo booth with me? And she was so nice. She's like, oh, of course, absolutely. And so we walk over, and we're sitting in the photo booth, and she looks at me, and she says, I have to warn you, I just had dinner, and I had onions and garlic, so my breath might be really bad. And I just kind of snicker, and she looked at me and she's like, what? I'm like, I'm sitting in a photo booth with one of the most beautiful women on TV and
so
film,
funny.
and you think that I'm going to be concerned about your breath. And she just kind of laughed, and she's like, oh, you're so sweet. But she's got a great voice. You can look her up on YouTube. I know there's a lot of videos of her singing.
So I just looked her brother up on iTunes, and he's got an album up called Whatever Love Means to You, and it looks like she's featured on a couple of the songs. So
yeah, he's got the new. There's another way if you look up Chase Bell and the White Licorice. I think there's another album.
Very cool.
There's a bunch of songs.
Rob Bell owns Green Birdie Productions, video production company.
I think that's dad.
In
Yeah.
New Jersey. Yeah. It runs in their family.
She grew up in New Jersey. Yep.
Runs in their family. Her mother was a producer for 60 Minutes.
Yep. And her mother, I think her mother had leukemia and overcame it.
Right on.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure when Emma was really young that happened.
Strong genes.
So when I have heard interviews with her, she seems really bright and really opinionated.
Oh, she's definitely opinionated.
Awesome.
If you follow her, you guys would love her because
she's a lefty.
She's very liberal. We'll put it to you that way.
She's a Sagittarius. We'd love her.
I'm going to find her on... I'm outnumbered.
See, that's why we love you.
I'm actually right on the cusp. I'm Scorpio and Sagittarius.
Diane's on the cusp.
No, I'm not. I'm totally a Capricorn.
Late December.
I am totally a Capricorn.
Whatever.
But Emma is definitely liberal.
I am looking for her on Twitter right now because I use Twitter to do things politically that I won't mention and follow Walking Dead people.
You troll the president. You already said that in the last episode.
I wasn't sure if you would remember or not.
That's right. I trolled Chelsea Handler because she's so out there.
See, we balance each other out.
Yeah.
But now I'm following Emma Bell. Thank you very much.
You totally have my permission to troll a certain redheaded comedian who I will not name because I don't want to give them any more fame. You totally have my permission to troll her, Robert. Or not Robert. Thomas.
Redheaded comedian?
Yes.
I think she might be talking about Kathy Griffin.
Oh yeah. No,
I wasn't going to say her name.
She's a disaster. She should be thrown in jail, but anyway. We're not going to talk politics.
But we're not going to get political.
Exactly.
So I'm quickly trying to find... she was in an episode of American Horror Story, and I can't place her.
I've never seen American Horror Story, so I can't.
I love American Horror Story.
That's on my to-watch list.
A few, and it's not... I don't love it. I haven't fallen in love yet.
Emma's been in a lot of stuff.
It's gone downhill recently, but 2016. I think that was the one with the witches.
So what is Emma doing these days? Any?
I know there was a movie she was just in. I can't remember the name of it, but she also just directed her first short.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes.
Her short film was called Scratch.
Scratch. Yeah.
And I know she had written a book, like a sci-fi book, that's going to be like a trilogy, like a Lord of the Rings type thing.
Cool.
And that's called Realm. And I believe I don't know, I don't think it's been published or bought for publishing yet, but I think she's already started doing like an audio version of it.
So you're totally spending my money from me. I'd sure like to know when that comes out. That sounds really good.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember I was talking to her about it when she was in the bar, and I don't think she had a date yet for it to be released.
So she sounds incredibly talented.
I mean, she is, and I mean, she's so down to earth too. She's very eco-friendly too.
Right on.
Her movie that just came out actually sounds really cute. She basically plays a Midwesterner who leaves her husband at the altar and goes on an adventure with her younger sister.
Is this like a different flowers or something like that?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. But the dogs apparently like it.
Yummy is giving it 3 barks up. That's our deaf dog. Husband's home, but once again, the one job he's got to keep the dogs quiet, he's not doing, so.
You can't exactly tell the dog to stop barking. He's not listening.
When he's deaf, you can't. No.
Yeah.
All right.
But, yeah, so that's pretty much Emma.
Should we do our good, bad, and ugly?
Sure. I'm not going first this time because I keep taking
first
everybody's. Yeah, no.
I loved
this
episode.
I'm going last.
I had a hard time finding a good.
Oh,
I mean, no, only because I knew what my bad was and I knew what my ugly was. But the good, it was just I came up with one, but I had to stretch.
Okay, Di, what was your good?
So my good was abuelita, which I don't speak Spanish, so I just probably totally blew that. But Grandma, I just loved her. I thought she was so sweet. And I loved that she diffused the big, tense battle scene and defended Felipe. And I just thought that her presence was really incongruous in the zombie apocalypse, so I actually really liked it. I liked
how she called Glenn a little Asian boy.
Yes. The little Asian boy, he's with Mr. Gilbert.
Yeah, the way she said that, I kind of liked.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny that she thought that Rick was there to arrest her grandson, I think.
Well, he's in his uniform still.
Yeah, but like it just I don't know if they've protected them from the outside or if they don't realize that society is broken down and nobody cares about a few outstanding warrants.
Well, I think Abuelita
is a little old.
She might be a little off. Yeah.
Yeah, but I absolutely love that they were kind of oblivious. You know, they were just in there living their own lives, and they had this gang of guys that just came and decided to take care of them, and she was like, "Don't arrest him."
Well,
those guys were employees there.
So Felipe,
they knew them.
Yeah, Felipe and Guillermo were the two who stayed when everybody else ran off.
Right.
And Felipe was her grandson, right?
I think so.
Yes.
I think that was what I took from it.
So,
yeah, because I think he calls her grandma.
Or
they say, "What's your grandma doing here?" or something like that.
But I think, the fact that she would wander into the middle of a gun battle and just, like, sweetly put everyone off, she's probably not quite in tune with what's going on in the ZA.
Right. Senility.
Right. Or maybe being protected, or maybe both, but yeah. So my good was very small, but I really liked it. I thought that was a nice moment. And we didn't have a lot of moments of levity in this first season. There was a lot of intensity in this first season, so that was pretty sweet.
Yeah. So you should actually look up her IMDb profile, Di.
Oh, yeah, really?
She's got some... She seems like a really hip old lady. Like, her...
Is she from Stockholm?
I don't think so.
God, that's really funny.
She was in like Judging Amy and Will and Grace and Scrubs and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and True Blood and Dexter and like she has a really a pretty good IMDb.
She's got more credits than half of the people on Fear.
And she just like like I think in True Blood she played really very old woman.
Oh God, that's funny.
That's a good role. Typecasting.
So she kind of just sounds like she's like she'd be fun to hang out with. I'm sure she's got a lot of set stories.
Would have been interesting if she got the role of Sookie Stackhouse.
Oh, my eyes. Erase, bleach. Okay, that's my good. One of you has to go.
All right, I'll go because I'm sure I won't be stolen because, like I said, I had to stretch to find a good. Not that the episode was bad, but it's a lot easier to pick your bads and your uglies than just a regular good. But I would go with, I loved the interrogation scene where they got the one gang member,
Miguel,
and they're trying to find out where they took Glenn. And I just love how Daryl was smart enough to pull Merle's hand out and act as though that's what he used, or that's what he did to the last person that didn't answer the questions.
Merle
but it
Merle
brought
had
me back
a hand
to
in.
Merle
had a hand
that
in
was
rescuing
bad.
Glenn.
That's a bad pun. But that whole using that hand just reminded me of a movie from a long time ago that I loved, The Untouchables.
Oh, that was a great movie.
They were using, Sean Connery used somebody that was already dead during an interrogation scene, and he put a gun to his head and acted like he was alive and said, "If you don't tell me, I'm going to shoot you," and ended up shooting a dead person already, and it scared the hell out of the person they were interrogating, and they got the info. And it was kind of a similar situation with using Merle's hand. And yes, Merle had a hand in helping Glenn.
I just thought the dialogue for the interrogation was well written too. There were a lot of comebacks and a lot of repartee between the characters, and I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That whole scene. I thought was really well done.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Definitely. We actually all had different goods this time. My good was when I'm going to slaughter his name, Guillermo.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And Rick were talking, and Rick's like, what? Basically, like, why did he's like, I don't know why people. Guillermo was like, I don't know why people look up to me, and Rick is like, because they can. And one of my, if anyone has been listening to our Fear the Walking Dead recaps, my biggest thing now in the zombie apocalypse is this what we have come to? Like, is everyone a Negan? Is everyone a bad guy? Are people always out to do you harm? And the Vatos proved that there are or were still good people in the world that will help people out. They're undoubtedly untrusting of strangers, but I mean, these guys stayed behind to help people that everyone else had given up on. So I loved Guillermo and the Vatos.
Of course, if you saw the deleted scene, you realize that they all got killed and they're all dead. But
that's what happens to good people in the zombie apocalypse.
Right, moral compass.
Exactly.
There you go.
This is why there are only Negans and governors left.
That's exactly what I was saying.
In fact, I even think, and not to get on Fear again, but I even think that the little tiny snippet that I watched last night of episode 3, Madison actually says something like, Travis was our compass. And I'm like, oh, God. There you go. That's why he's dead.
That's right. She did say that.
That's totally
funny. I kind of tune a lot of what she says out. But
you and Brian both, man. I have to listen for the both of you.
And most of America.
Right. So, funny. We've all done our goods. On to the bads. Why don't you go ahead, Thomas?
You want my bad? Well,
I mean, you talked about it a little bit.
No, it wasn't the entire episode. I just don't think, to me, the whole Vatos story just is the bad. Because it doesn't give anything. It doesn't give anything to the story. It doesn't, like, they didn't gain anything by going there. They didn't lose anything by going there.
Yeah,
it just seemed like it filled up, and you have that they kidnap Glenn. You go there. All this takes place in what, a couple of hours. I mean, this is
less than a day.
It's like a story. That's like a story that would take place over a few episodes if you wanted to do it right. And it just seemed like it was just kind of to fill the I mean, I hate using filler, but it just seemed like filler.
I have to give you that. I never thought about the elapsed time, but you're right. If you're really treating that situation with the gravity that our characters treated it with, you would see that play out over several days. I agree with that.
Right. I mean, they found them same day, a couple hours later, then they leave, then they come back. I mean, it didn't work for me. And even the deleted scene, even where would that have gone? I mean, there's a scene where the guys all go back and everybody there is dead.
Yeah.
I mean, they deleted that scene, I think, because they realized that there's no point in it.
So I heard a theory today that they actually also didn't follow through with that scene and the whole Vatos storyline just because they were looking for something with big impact, and they felt like the herd on the freeway that they opened season 2 with had so much more impact than going back and seeing what had happened to the Vatos.
And I agree with them.
Well, Martin, what's yours?
Well, to follow up a little bit on the bad, Thomas's bad, like I totally agree in that it at the time it didn't seem like a filler episode because I always imagined that we'd circle back to them somehow, or maybe their stronghold would fall and they would seek out Rick's group, a few of them at least, and there'd be some more storyline. But it was like, what was this one-off episode where we lost a few guns and we gained some, like, oh, there are still good people out there, but bye, So I really wish they would have done something more with them. But
Or
yeah,
just cut them out.
So we all had similar bads because.
well, actually, that wasn't my bad.
Oh, well then I won't talk over you. I'll let you say what your bad is, and then I'll say what mine is.
I was actually really upset at Amy's death. I
Do you think it was a bad? Because I actually think it was a really great moment of the episode.
We started off the episode with Andrea and Amy in the boat talking about how their dad had, treated them differently and raised them differently because that's what they needed as an individual. And, the Amy needed to throw them back and Andrea needed to catch them. And it was just, not that we should have known by then, but we should know by now. Anytime somebody gets a really poignant episode, it's their time. But I really feel like Vatos, like Amy's lifespan was just too short. Like I think Amy could have gone at least a few more episodes, if not into like mid-season 2. But yeah.
I think Emma Bell feels that way too. She said in more than one interview that she was pretty pissed that she got killed off.
I completely disagree with that, but I'll get into it later.
Okay.
Well, so
Emma Bell does come back in season 2.
Does she?
Or is it 3? Season 3.
What?
She shows up in season 3.
Does she?
Is she just a random walker somewhere?
No. She's one of the voices on the phone that Rick hears.
Is she?
Yep.
Oh, that's really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, Emma Bell is one, Jim is one, and there's another voice. I forgot who it was.
Lori, but other than Lori, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it wasn't Lori, but I know Emma was one voice and Jim was one voice.
Huh.
Well, so I have to say I agree with Thomas. I think that Emma Bell's death was a really good moment. I think it was time for us to lose somebody. I think it was appropriately timed in the first season. And I was watching the Open today with Lori and Amy. And I was thinking...
No.
Andrea and Amy.
Andrea.
So Lori and Emma, Andrea and Amy. Oh my God, so many names.
You're like Chris Hardwick, where like he called Steven Yeun Glenn for like the first 3 seasons.
Because I'm just that cool.
It's all that free weed.
There you go. No, I've learned that you put it on your tooth, remember?
Oh,
but anyway, I was watching that Open and I thought, we needed this. We needed this bonding moment between those two characters to play into Amy's death at the end of this episode. That's what made it so good, in my opinion. But so
that's your bad?
No. So I was responding to Marnell's bad. My bad is actually the same as your bad, but in a different way, Thomas. So for me, it was the unanswered question of the Vatos, and I've talked about this before because Brian and I talked about this episode a while ago, and I always wanted there to be more to the story. And I didn't know until Brian and I talked about it that there was the deleted scene and the intention to go back to the nursing home in season 2. So I was actually bummed to find out that the trajectory was that they'd been overrun and that they'd all been killed off, because I actually kind of hoped that it was a little oasis in the middle of the zombie apocalypse somewhere.
Well, and it was funny. While I was watching it, I was... At this point, they do know that anybody that dies, at least Rick's group knows that anybody that dies comes back. And I'm just like, at any moment...
No, they don't know that. They don't know that yet. They don't find that out. They don't find that out till Jenner tells Rick at the end of season 1 in the CDC. I could have sworn
Morgan said something.
No.
Well, so Morgan says you'll come back, but Morgan doesn't say everybody comes back.
Morgan says you come back if you get bit.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking...
Right, because we don't really know... I mean, Rick knows after he talks to Jenner, but we don't really know as fans until Randall.
I'm just thinking of a retirement home where there's a lot of elderly sick people. That is just a recipe for trouble.
Yeah. Maybe
Right?
that's how they were overrun.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of.
That's really possible.
Yeah, somebody died in their sleep and just wandered around and started biting people.
Yeah, somebody died, came back, and then started getting staff, and they just got overrun. That's real possible.
Yep. There we go. We tied it up for him.
And
it's no longer a bad for Diane.
There you go. I have my question answered, so it's okay now. All right, on to the ugly. Thomas, you go first.
All right, my ugly is a good ugly, and it's the end of the episode with the attack on the camp.
Which was shocking.
I was just going to say, I was so shocked. Because now we're kind of accustomed to like main characters dying. We expect it every now and then. I was watching this show and I'm thinking, there's no way in the world they're going to kill these people because these are the main characters. Right. And then Emma Bell goes to the bathroom and gets chomped on. And it's like the first episode. My jaw dropped when she got bit, and even Ed, Carol's husband.
Yeah.
When he got it, I mean, I was kind of expecting him to get it, just because he was that's what happens to the bad people in movies.
Right. That is my ugly. My ugly is a good ugly, and it's Ed getting his comeuppance.
But when Emma died, I mean, it was so beautifully done with her and Andrea there.
Yes.
It was. Yeah.
And the one trivia, obviously, I think Marno already mentioned it. The walker that bites Emma in the neck is Greg Nicotero.
Mm-hmm.
And she said it's because the prosthesis was so carefully placed.
Right. I heard that too.
Yeah, I don't blame her. I'd want somebody to be careful if they were biting my neck.
Yeah, they didn't trust anyone else to do it because it was just a small spot to go for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But just the shot. I mean, like I said, we're used to it now. Where main characters die in a lot of shows. But before this, I mean, I don't remember many shows where main characters died.
And it was so tragic, and the way that they carried it into the next episode, so painful.
Right. That's what I was going to get to. Also, the fact that they ended where they ended.
Yeah.
I mean, the open of the very next episode, or the beginning of the next episode, is incredible.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
So that's my ugly good. The attack on the camp.
Yeah, my ugly good was the attack on Ed. Just nasty little men always get their comeuppance, don't they?
Poor Ed. In last episode, he got beaten up by Shane. Now this episode, he's getting chomped on.
See, and if what's her name, the little girl,
Sophia,
if she would have stayed with her dad instead of leaving, she would have got attacked too, and the entire season 2 would have been completely different.
I'm sorry. I still think that scene.
There'd be no Herschel's farm.
Yep. I still think that scene had a totally creeper molesty vibe between her and Ed.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. That's what it was going.
Yeah. That's why his death was an ugly good.
Yeah. No, his death was very satisfying. Amy's was shocking, and his was very satisfying.
So, did we all expect an eventual attack on the camp? Because I mean, you're sitting there and you're like, okay, like there are dead people wandering around, and like they just said, like one just attacked the deer that Daryl had got.
Also, Greg Nicotero.
Yes, also Greg Nicotero. But wouldn't you have set up some sort of like trip line with like tin cans tied to it or something so that, you know, this kind of thing wouldn't happen? Right?
I mean, it's still early on. But, I mean, I would think Shane would think of something like that.
Yeah. I think he's a little too preoccupied with Rick's return and him losing Lori and beating up Ed and you know, frog legs and stuff.
The other thing is that our guys, as they were leaving Atlanta, said Merle's going to bring chaos back to the camp, or Merle's going to bring vengeance back to the camp.
Yeah.
So, I, as a watcher, I actually expected more. I had a bigger expectation that Merle would go back and wreak his revenge in the camp than I did Walker's at this early point as a first-time viewer.
Right. But it had to put us on the road.
Yeah.
They had to move. That was the point of it.
Yes.
What was with that? Like, okay, your box truck is gone, but like you can't steal another car? Why did you run all the way back to camp? It's like 100 degrees out.
Dramatic effect. I don't know.
Exactly.
I guess. I really did love the last line of the episode, though, that Jim was like, I remembered my dream. I remembered why I dug the holes. That was just chilling to me.
See, that was the other thing that I was going to choose for my bad was Jim and his digging.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I think I said in the last podcast, everything in this everything in this show is real except for the walkers. I don't get the supernatural. I dreamt that we're going to be attacked and people are going to die, so I have to go dig holes.
It didn't really fit in with. It didn't really fit. I agree.
Yeah,
right.
I do agree with that. His premonition that you know there was going to be a bunch of bodies, but you are in the zombie apocalypse under a whole bunch of stress, and it's 100 degrees out, and you've lost your family. You know, I think you're probably going to have some nightmares.
Right. No, I mean, I understand that. I just,
was it a nightmare or was it supernatural? Because it felt supernatural.
It seemed premonition-y to me,
He was making it seem like that.
Yeah.
Which I didn't care for.
I agree.
We have some elements of that ongoing, though. I mean, we have Daryl encountering Merle in Chupacabra. We have...
Yeah, but that's not really supernatural.
That's more hallucination.
A hallucination because he was hurt and fell and...
stressed, and it's 100 degrees and you have no water, and
it's not like we have people that are reading minds or anything now.
What about Rick seeing Laurie's ghost? Did he actually see Laurie's ghost, or was he just hallucinating because he was going crazy?
Oh, that's hallucination.
Yeah, Rick be cray cray.
Yeah. That's what all the kids are saying now, right?
Only in Alaska. We're so far behind.
Yeah, we're so far behind. We're lucky we get current episodes of The Walking Dead.
I was going to say, so the word lit hasn't gotten out there yet?
Right. We're still on the, what's up?
Oh, man.
Okay,
not quite.
So I'm going to talk about My Ugly. My Ugly was a good ugly, and it was, I'm going to steal one of Kirk's words. It was the juxtaposition of the nursing home to the zombie apocalypse. It was the juxtaposition of the Vatos, who we thought they were and who they actually turned out to be. Yeah. So it was just all of these things in the episode that seemed like one thing or didn't quite fit within this world. I really liked that element of this episode. So My Ugly was a good ugly.
I see that. Yeah.
Nice.
And I've got to roll out juxtaposition. Right. I've got to roll it out every now and then.
That's funny. So are we done with our uglies?
I think so. Do we have much rotten potpourri?
I have a little.
I just have the one, my man Glenn, that poor guy, he got dangled off a building this episode. He's just, he doesn't even know what he's in for. He's already being dangled off a building. He's just,
He's walker bait.
That's just another day at the office for Glenn.
Right. And I loved that when he was, going over what they were going to do and how they were going to get the duffel bag and all this kind of stuff. And Daryl's like, what did you used to do? And Glenn's like, pizza delivery guy.
Yeah. We get that first answer about who Glenn was, and that was really fun.
Yeah. So the scene where the Vatos had attacked I'm sorry, right before the Vatos attacked, when Glenn was going and getting the bag.
Oh,
and he
best line ever, right?
Oh, well, he goes back for the hat.
Oh, yeah.
So they had to do that scene a couple of times, and it was so hot out. Stephen Yeun had not eaten, and he actually passed out during that scene on one of the takes.
Wow.
I read that too. I thought that's one of Robert Kirkman's favorite stories to tell,
moments.
apparently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that scene to me is totally Indiana Jones, where he's always reaching back for that hat.
Right.
Yep.
And what did he say? He's like, don't tell anybody. But Marnell, you brought up one of my favorite moments in this episode, which is where, and it's still one of the best lines for The Walking Dead, when Daryl says, "You got some balls for a Chinaman," and he's like, "I'm Korean."
And that line comes back and back and back.
Yes.
Between Merle and Glenn, Merle and Daryl.
Right, and Daryl's like, "No, he's Korean." Yeah.
Oh, God,
yeah, same thing.
Funny.
Yeah.
So this was one of the episodes where we see, because was it Daryl or T-Dog that wanted to leave Glenn? I think it was Daryl that was like, "Who is it to you?" And Rick is like, "He could have left me in that tank. I'm only here."
Circle again.
Yep, it all goes back to Glenn.
Well, when Glenn was being, he had that hood on his head on top of the roof.
Mm-hmm.
There is one of the members of the Vatos, really big guy. I think he was bald. He has tattoos all over himself. They had to do that scene so many times. At one point in one of the scenes, when he took the bag off Glenn's head, or Stephen Yeun's head, he actually pulled some of Stephen Yeun's hair out.
Oh no!
So this is a big and from what I've heard, this guy's a huge teddy bear, the guy with the tattoos or whatever. And he felt so bad about it, but he didn't get to see Stephen before that day was over. So the next day, I think they were coming back to shoot something else. And Stephen comes over to him and he's like, "I don't want this guy on the set. He pulled my hair," and he totally messing with him.
Oh.
And then finally he's like, "Oh no, I'm just kidding." And they hugged it out and everything. But that was one of the walkers told me that.
Oh, that's cool.
He pulled a chunk of his hair out. Also, the Vatos camp, I don't know if you know this, it is actually a goat farm in Atlanta.
Really?
It's a goat farm. I actually went to it. The tour I went on brought us there. And it's a farm that's it's funded by artists. Like, artists go there to work and they do all their art stuff and everything. It's really quiet and everything. It's really a beautiful place. And there are goats.
Are they big goats or little goats?
Oh yeah, they're goats. I'm not a farmer. But,
me either.
But Xander Berkeley, who plays Gregory now, actually has a studio there.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so it's an actual place you can go visit. It's pretty cool, pretty relaxed, and it's been used for different movies. It was also used for the Hunger Games.
Really?
I think it was the first Hunger Games where they were getting the tributes.
Right.
Yeah.
And they used this big courtyard in that same goat farm. And if you go there now, you can actually, and I actually have a few pieces, they have fake coal all over the ground in certain spots that they had left there from the Hunger Games.
Okay, I'm going to have to totally put the Atlanta Goat Farm on my to-do list. Both for the goats and for the movie trivia.
Or just take the tour out of Atlanta. They bring it to all the different places.
Someday, man. Someday.
Yep. I think that's all the potpourri I had, though.
Let's see. I don't know if I have... Oh, I had something kind of funny. It was a piece of trivia that I read today for the first time. So apparently, and I am not a crossbow aficionado, so I didn't know this, but apparently if you really know what you're looking at, the crossbow in the first several episodes is not loaded properly, so there's no way it could actually fire.
Oh, nice.
They were saying that from the scene when Daryl was drawing down on T-Dog at the beginning of the episode.
Oh, they probably have multiple ones, and that one's actually just rigged not to fire.
No, they actually said in the trivia that I read that it was improperly loaded and would never have fired.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, but not that I would know.
Yeah, I wouldn't know any better.
But I do know where the safety is.
I was gonna say that goes back to the sheriff. Yeah. Yeah,
the
funny.
Safety's easy. Safety's easy. Crossbow,
right.
not so much.
That's right.
That's funny. So the guy who plays Ed, Adam Minorovich, I was kind of looking through his IMDb profile today, and it's so funny. He plays a guy in a movie called Digging Up Graves named Merle Graves.
Wow.
How funny is that?
That's pretty ironic.
And it was years before The Walking Dead. And then there was something else that stuck out on his IMDb profile. He was in a movie in 2003 called Wise Guys versus Zombies.
Wow.
Yeah. So I just thought that was interesting that he wound up in The Walking Dead.
The one question I have, is he from Stockholm?
No, he's from Houston, Texas.
I was going to say that accent points somewhere farther south.
Yeah.
Is Houston, Texas close to Stockholm?
By way of Alaska.
Yeah. The island of Alaska.
Right, there you go.
Oh, brother.
Well, you guys, I think that does it for tonight's retrospective. But same time next week for episode 5.
Same dead time, same dead channel.
Episode 5 is called
Wildfire.
I forgot.
Wildfire.
Wildfire.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
And then we end with TS19.
Yep. Test subject 19.
Yeah.
All right.
Have a good night, and remember.
Are we gonna try this?
We're gonna try. We're gonna try to
take it
one dead day at a time.
That was really good.
No, that was horrible. It's never gonna happen.
It just proves that we're unscripted and we don't rehearse this.
There you go.
It's just never gonna happen. Don't get bit.
Everyone, good night.
Good night.